Now, we were talking about a six-figure settlement, but this comes after a lot of work. And a fair bit of experience is needed in order to be able to assess the amount of work that is required to bring a case like this to a successful fruition. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it does take experience. I've been representing plaintiffs for personal injury cases for over 30 years, and there's no substitute for experience. You have to handle a number of these cases and handle them from start to finish and try many cases before you're experienced enough to really make sure you're doing the right thing for your client.
And of course, a lot of the medical expenses, have to be, looked at from the point of view of, similar types of situations that have occurred in the past. And that means also doing the necessary research and actually waiting a long period of time in many instances for these cases to come to trial. So there's a fair investment of time on behalf of the legal team that you employ, and the investigators and the other ancillary services that are involved in this. People think it's just a lawyer. It's not. It's a whole team of people, isn't it?
No, you need a good team behind you. Preparation is the main thing here. From the moment that the client comes to the office, you have to assess the type of case you have, assess the injuries, assess what specialists the client should be sent to, make sure that you keep a communication with those expert doctors so that you know what kind of treatment, what kind of damages you're looking at. And ultimately, the eye of a good attorney should always be on going to trial. Often these cases settle, but you should prepare the case as if it's going to trial, and that way you'll get your best recovery.
And getting a recovery, as we mentioned earlier, can take quite a substantial amount of time. If you do have to go to trial, of course, that very much depends on the defendants, and a lot of these defendants have very deep pockets if they're large corporations. And this is where the attorney's commitment to the client, I think, shows through in terms of the settlements that you've achieved over the years.
Yes, you have to be willing to invest not only time but your own money in the case, and you have to not waste those resources. Cases, as you said, can take anywhere from 2 to 3 years to go to trial, and trial can last 2 to 3 weeks. There was one case in particular, a medical malpractice case that we spent over $50,000 even before we got to trial. So there are very expensive cases, so you have to make sure your attorney is willing to make that investment, because if he does not make the investment, you will not get the recovery that you're entitled to.
And that's the most important thing, because these are life-changing events on behalf of people that have had pretty bad car accidents or other misfortunes. Well, thanks very much indeed.
You're welcome.